What if one magical candy could show you the true power of giving?
Even when you have almost nothing left.
Watch this heartwarming story.
The candy of altruism. In a room filled with the scent of sandalwood and old books, Sami sat cross-legged on a velvet rug. He looked up at his grandfather, Kareem, whose eyes always twinkled like distant stars. "Grandpa," Sami asked, "I want to be generous, but how do I know if I'm giving enough?" Kareem smiled and reached for a carved wooden box tucked away on a high shelf. "True giving, Sami, is a journey of the heart," he whispered, placing the box on the table between them. Grandpa Kareem opened the lid, revealing a shimmering collection of candies, each one a different shape and color. "This is the box of virtues," he explained. "Each sweet holds a lesson. To understand generosity, you must choose the right one." Sami scanned the rows of glowing treats until his eyes landed on a unique piece. It was shaped like two hands intertwined, cradling a delicate, blooming rose. "This one," Sami said firmly, picking up the candy. As soon as Sami placed the candy on his tongue, the room began to fade. The scent of sandalwood turned into the dry smell of dust, and the warm sunlight became a scorching, relentless heat. The walls of the study dissolved, and Sami found himself standing in the middle of a parched, gray town. A sign hanging crookedly on a post read, "Welcome to the city of me." Sami walked down the street and saw two boys, Zaid and Omar, standing by a small fountain that was barely dripping. Zaid held a small flask of water close to his chest. "Let me have a sip, Zaid," Omar pleaded, his throat dry. "No," Zaid barked, turning his back. "If I share with you, I'll have less for myself later. Find your own." Sami sighed, realizing that in this city, every drop was a secret. Further down the road, Sami saw a woman named Dina sitting on a porch. She held a fresh loaf of bread, its golden crust smelling delicious. Her young son, Leo, sat at her feet, looking up with a rumbling stomach. Dina broke off a large piece and ate it quickly. "Mother, may I have a bite?" Leo asked softly. Dina shook her head. "I need my strength to look after you, Leo. You can have the crumbs when I am finished." Sami reached the center of the town, where a magnificent stone well stood. It was the only source of deep, cool water left, but it was locked behind a heavy iron gate. Lord Zarif, a man dressed in fine but dusty silks, sat on a stool in front of the gate. He held a massive ring of keys and glared at anyone who came near. "It's my well," Lord Zarif muttered to himself. "If I let them take some, the bucket might break." The sun grew even hotter, and Sami felt the sting of the heat on his neck. Near a crumbling wall, he saw a woman named Alara. She was cradling a tiny baby, trying to shield the infant from the sun with her own shadow. She looked exhausted, her face pale from the heat. She had nothing to offer her child but her own fading strength. Sami looked at his own light, cool cloak, the one Grandpa Kareem had given him. Sami knew what he had to do. He took off his cloak, even though he knew the sun would burn his own shoulders. He stepped toward Alara and draped the fabric over her and the baby, tucking the edges into the cracks of the wall to create a small, cool tent. "Here," Sami said gently. "This will keep the sun away." Alara looked up, tears of relief in her eyes. "But what about you?" she whispered. "I will be fine," Sami replied with a smile. High above on a balcony, a wealthy woman named Amira watched the scene. She had been hiding under her large, silk umbrella, watching the world go by with a cold heart. But seeing Sami give away his only protection moved something deep inside her. She looked at her heavy umbrella and then at the boy standing in the heat. For the first time in years, Amira felt a spark of warmth that didn't come from the sun. Amira hurried down the stairs and out into the dusty street. She walked straight to where Sami and Alara were sitting. Without a word, she opened her wide umbrella and held it over all of them, sharing her shade. Then, she reached into her bag and pulled out a bottle of cool water, handing it to Alara first. "We have enough to share," Amira said, her voice trembling with a new kind of joy. As soon as Amira's act of kindness met Sami's sacrifice, a miracle occurred. The dry air turned sweet and cool. From the clear blue sky, a gentle, shimmering dew began to fall. Everywhere the dew touched the ground, green grass sprouted and flowers bloomed. The city of Me began to transform. Lord Zareth unlocked the well, Zait shared his flask, and Dina gave the biggest piece of bread to Leo. The town was now the city of giving. Suddenly, the desert air vanished. Sami blinked and found himself back in the study, the taste of the rose-shaped candy still lingering on his tongue. Grandpa Kareem was watching him with a knowing smile. "You saw it, didn't you?" his grandfather asked. Altruism is called Ithar. It is giving from what you need yourself and preferring others over your own soul. Grandpa Kareem pointed to a verse in the book. In the Holy Quran, in Surah Al-Hashr, it says, "But give them preference over themselves, even though they are in privation." That is the highest form of love, Sami. Sami nodded, feeling a warmth in his chest that no sun could ever match. He realized that the more he gave from his heart, the richer he truly felt.